वधो ब्रह्मवधाद्गुरुः तीर्थसंसेवया चाम्हो जहि अङ्गाच्युतचेतनः Word meaning. Ragnaha of the king, Murdhna Abhishiktasya, who is noted as the emperor, Vadhaha, the killing, Brahmavadhat, than killing a Brahmana, Guruhu, more severe, Tirtha Samsevaya, by worshipping the holy places, Cha, also, Amhaha, the sinful act, Jahi, wash out, Anga, O my dear son, Achyuta Chetanaha, being fully Krishna conscious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. My dear son, killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. But now, if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places, you can atone for this great sin. Please repeat. My dear son, killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. But now, if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places, you can atone for this great sin. Purport. One who fully surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is freed from all sins. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. From the very day or moment he fully surrenders to Sri Krishna, even the most sinful person is freed. Nonetheless, as an example, Jamadagni advised his son Parashurama to worship the holy places, because an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is advised to go from one holy place to another to find saintly persons and thus gradually be released from sinful reactions. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Parashurama, the Lord's warrior incarnation. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So here, who is saying this verse? Jamalagni is saying, in response to what activity that Parashuram has done? Kartavirya Arjuna he killed. So what is Jamalagni saying? O my son, Anga, O my dear son, you have killed this king, Ragnaha, who is Murdhabhishiktasya, who is noted as emperor. Ragno Murdhabhishiktasya Vadaha, you have killed. And that is a greater sin than killing a Brahmana. Brahmavadhat Guruhu. Guruhu means here superior. Guru and Laghu, these two words in Sanskrit means, Guru means greater, Laghu means smaller. So on that meaning, so he is saying, Brahmavadat Guruhu, this is a greater sin than killing a Brahmana, because you killed Ragnaha Murdhabhishiktasya. So therefore, this sinful reaction, Ampaha, you should defeat or you should gain over Jahi, Amhaha, by Tirtha Samsevaya, by going to the holy places and by becoming Achyuta Chetanaha, by becoming Krishna conscious. So one time in Dwaraka, so there were these personalities. Aniruddha, who is the son of Pradyumna. Kritavarma, who is the commander-in-chief of the Yadu dynasty. And there were other people, Suchandra, Shuka and Sarana. Only these people were there in Dwaraka. How come? There were many other great personalities. But there was one occasion when only these people were there. What is that occasion? It's mentioned in Krishna book. Shalva? Battle of Kurukshetra? Lunar eclipse? Solar eclipse. Yes, that's the right answer. Solar eclipse time. So it seems the complete solar eclipse, I don't know how many we have seen, but it is said in Krishna book that it happens once in a day of Brahma. Once upon a time, while Lord Krishna and Balarama were living peacefully in the great city of Dwaraka, there was the rare occasion of a full solar eclipse, such as takes place at the end of every Kalpa or day of Brahma. So they took that opportunity and went to this place, Kurukshetra, which is also called Samanta Panchaka. And why is it called Samanta Panchaka? Why I am telling that is because there is a relation to this. Parashuram, he did great sacrifices according to the order of his father. He went to the Kurukshetra. He performed great sacrifices there. So Prabhupada says in that Krishna book, Lord Parashurama dug how many big lakes? 5 big lakes at Samanta Panchaka, which is Kurukshetra, and filled them with this blood. And he did great sacrifices. And interestingly, Lord Parashurama is Vishnu Tattva, Prabhupada says. As stated in Isopanishad, Vishnu Tattva cannot be contaminated by any sinful activity. Where does it say in Isopanishad that Vishnu Tattva cannot be contaminated by any sinful activity? Yes. Saparyagat Shukram Akayam Avranam Asnaviram Shuddham Apapavidham. The Lord's body is Asnaviram, without veins. That means to show that his body is not like our body. And he is Shuddham Apapavidham. He is pure and prophylactic. That means he cannot commit any sin. The standard of purity is the Lord. Whatever he does is all good. Rather, anybody who comes in touch with the Lord gets purified. So he is Shuddham Apapa Viddham. So, but still, even though Vishnu Tattva cannot be contaminated by any sinful activity, yet although Parashurama is powerful and uncontaminated, why did he perform great sacrifices? Order of his father. But importantly here it is said, yes, in order to exhibit ideal character, he performed great sacrifices at Samanta Panchaka to atone for his so-called sinful killing of the Kshatriyas. To atone, like how his father is saying, Jahi Amhaha, you have to overcome your sinful activities. That is called atonement. And how he did that? By great sacrifices. And to set an example. So, by this example, Lord Parashurama established that killing art, although sometimes necessary, is not good. So, Parashurama considered himself culpable for the sinful killing of the Kshatriyas. So, therefore, how much more culpable we are for such abominable, unsanctioned acts. So, now related to Dwaraka again, this time to Balarama, he also had to perform act of atonement at one point, even though he is the Lord. Killing of Romaharshana Sutta. Why? Right. See, this Romaharshana Sutta was sitting on Vyasasana. And so Balarama entered, like Mataji entered. And everybody got up and offered respects. But this Romaharshana Sutta was sitting without recognizing the position of Balaram. So what Balaram did? So to teach him a lesson, took a blade of grass and just killed him with that. So now these Brahmanas, they became slightly disturbed with that. They could understand that Balarama was the Supreme Lord, but still they put him in the position of Vyasasana, and then they said the principle is anybody in the position of Vyasasana is the representative of the Lord. He need not get up for anybody. So he was merely doing that. And he was a Brahmana, powerful Brahmana. And we gave him actually a very long duration of life for him so that he can teach us these principles and we can perform these sacrifices. So now you have surpassed everything. So now you must do some kind of atonement. So what did Balarama do at that time? What did Balarama say? He gave them, he said, I'll do whatever you want. In fact, I can bring him back to life. Whatever you want, I'll do, including I'll bring him back to life. So what did they ask? Why did they not ask him to be brought back to life? Because it was the Lord's action, it was absolute, it should not be proven otherwise. So whatever he does should be absolutely done. So my Lord, you should not do that. But still, because we granted him a long duration of life, and now you nullified that, you solve that also. We don't know how you will solve, but you have to solve it. So he should not bring him back to life. At the same time, his long duration should be awarded. So what did he do? Then what is the use? But he didn't give long life to father, no? Yes, the son is part and parcel of the body of the father. So in that sense, the son is a representative of the father, he said. Therefore, I'll give this son who is named as Ugrashrava Suta. We generally call Suta Uvacha. So he made him like that. the son Ugrashrava will therefore have all the facilities you offered, a long duration of life in a good and healthy body, with no disturbances and full strength of all the senses. So any activity you do, amhaha, sinful activity, has to be atoned. In Bhagavatam, you will see another example of Indra. First, Indra, because there was this collision between the demons and the demigods, and Lord Brahma advises him to go to Vishwarupa to perform this sacrifice. And at that time, Vishwarupa performs sacrifice, but Indra kills him for some reason. After all, he is performing sacrifice for them only. Why does Indra kill him? Huh? So Vishwarupa is the son of Twashta, who is related to the demigod side. But the wife of Twashta is related to the demon side. So Vishwarupa has affection for both the father side and the mother side. So he was offering these oblations, but secretly also giving the oblations to the demons. They were also getting strengthened, and Indra became concerned that they also will become powerful, and he beheaded Vishwarupa. Now for that, obviously it's a Brahmahatya. He had to face the sinful reactions. So Prabhupada says there, he was facing a sinful reaction for killing a Brahmana. Although competent to neutralize the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana, Indra did not do so. Instead, he accepted the sinful reactions. Now, the sinful reactions he distributed to 4 personalities, or 4 personalities accepted the sinful reactions from Indra. Who are these 4 personalities? Huh? Water, land, trees, and women. So, how did the land accept? What did the land become because of accepting this portion of sinful reaction? Portion of the land became desert. And what did trees become? The sap that oozes from the trees. And the women, obviously, the menstrual period. Here it is said they are untouchable during their menstrual period. And water was also infested with sinful reactions. When bubbles appear in water, it cannot be used for any purpose. So Indra was also affected. So now Indra killed Vishwarupa, for which Twashta performed a sacrifice, Vishwarupa's father, to kill Indra. And therefore he obtained this son called Vrutrasura. Right? But because of a mistake in sacrifice, instead of getting a son who kills Indra, he got a son who is killed by Indra. So Vrutrasura is born, and now Indra devises a way to kill Vrutrasura. They all go to Lord Vishnu, who says, you go to Dadhichi, you get his bones, make this kavacha, this vajra from that, and then you can kill Vrutrasura. They did that. And Indra then, during the battle, he figured out that Vrutrasura is not an ordinary person, but he is a great devotee of the Lord. He was actually Chitraketu in the previous life. So now Indra, first he had Brahmahatya by killing Vishwarupa, and then on top of this, Vrutrasura. So even before killing Vrutrasura, actually Indra denies to kill him, because he knew that Vrutrasura was a great devotee. But then what happens? How did he end up killing? Who convinces him? Vrutrasura only convinces. No. Vrutrasura encourages to kill him during the battle. But before he even comes to the battle, something happens. When all the great sages and demigods were disturbed by the extraordinary power of Vritrasura, they had assembled to ask Indra to kill him. So, who are the people? Great sages and demigods. Indra, however, being afraid of killing a Brahmana, declined their request. So, first he declined. And Indra replied, when I killed Vishwarupa, I received extensive sinful reactions, but I was favored by the women, land, trees and water, and therefore I was able to divide the sin among them. But now if I kill Vritrasura, another Brahmana, how shall I free myself from the sinful reactions? So he was telling, I will not do this. And then hearing this, the great sages told him, O King of Heaven, see how they convinced him. How you think they might have convinced him? Uttarasura will kill all of us. Okay. But what about Brahmahatya? More Brahmanas will be killed. Uttarasura is not going to kill Brahmanas. So, see, they had to convince Indra of how they can, as he's saying, he can atone for Brahmahatya. They had to convince Indra that it's all right to do Brahmahatya in this case. So what is that convincing argument they said? Two things they said. One is, do not fear. We shall perform an Ashwamedha sacrifice to release you from any sin you may accrue by killing the Brahmana. That is the one thing they said. They will perform Ashwamedha sacrifice. And then they said, O King Indra, by performing an Ashwamedha sacrifice and thereby pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Super Soul Lord Narayana, the Supreme Controller, one can be relieved even of sinful reactions for killing the entire world, not to speak of killing a demon like Vritrasura. So one reason they gave is Ashwamedha sacrifice. The second reason they gave is, one who has killed a cow or one who has killed his father, mother or spiritual master can be immediately freed from all sinful reactions simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Narayana. And they give a list of all low-class people who can be delivered just by chanting. So they gave two reasons. Simply by chanting, you are a devotee. What to speak of, even ordinary people, Chandalas, Sudras, they all can be delivered simply by chanting the holy name. You are a devotee. And on top of it, we will perform Ashwamedha. And then Indra was convinced. But their reasoning was not sound. Prabhupada tells that in the purport. Why was their reasoning not sound? Seventh offense is, you should not commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Even though the Lord's holy name is capable of nullifying all the sinful reactions, namno hi yavati shaktihi papa nirharane harehe tavat kartum na shaknoti patakam pataki naraha. What is the meaning of that? Tavat kartum na shaknoti. The holy name can counteract so much of sinful reactions that one cannot even imagine that they can perform so much. Tavat kartum na shaknoti. He cannot even perform so much. That powerful it is. But here Prabhupada says, here the sages encouraged King Indra to kill Vritrasura even at the risk of Brahmahatya, the killing of a Brahmana, and the guarantee to release him from sinful reactions by performing an Ashwamedha Yajna. Such purposefully devised atonement, however, cannot relieve the performer of sinful acts. See? Such purposefully devised atonement, however, cannot relieve the performer of sinful acts. So the reaction came to Indra. So, what did he have to do? Indra, it said that this sinful reaction personified was following him wherever he went. So he went to this place called Manas Sarovara. Where is it? Himalayas. And there he took shelter inside the stem of a lotus flower. And eventually, it is said that by the influence, Indra's sins were diminished by the influence of Rudra, the demigod of all directions. And because Indra was protected by the goddess of fortune, Lord Vishnu's wife, who resides in the lotus clusters of Manas Sarovara, Indra's sins could not affect him. Indra was ultimately relieved of all sinful reactions of his sinful deeds by strictly worshipping Lord Vishnu. So this is how Indra became freed from sinful reactions. Now in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, we know this personality who had to overcome or perform atonement. Subudhirai. Subudhirai used to be a king in the Gaudha. And he had a servant, Hussein Shah. He deployed him in digging a big tank. And he was not doing proper work. So he had him whipped. And those marks became quite distinct on his back. So, times change. And the opposite happened. Now Hussein Shah became the king of that place. And now, but still he became very grateful of Subudhirai because Subudhirai helped him in the time of need. So he didn't harbor any ill desire. But the wife saw the marks, the queen, and said, "Who did this to you?" And he said, "That was my master Subudhirai is a great person, he's a good person. No, I want you to kill him for this. How dare he do this to you, do this to us? You should kill him." He said, "No, I cannot kill him." And the wife was convincing him. No, he said, "Okay, I can do something which is akin to killing, which is so either sprinkling the water from my hands in those days is considered as conversion to Muslims, Yavanas, or I'll give water to be drunk from my hands in a pitcher, and that is also as good." So he did one of those, and he became condemned. And so all this community, Brahminical community, they barred him. So he went to all the places. He went to Varanasi. He found out how to overcome that sinful reaction. What is the advice they gave? Hot coffee. Drink hot ghee. So basically, you die by drinking hot ghee. So hot that you will have to die, so much of ghee. So obviously, and then the other set of Brahmanas said, no, this is not a great sin. You don't have to do that. And somebody suggested something. It was so confusion. So at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came to Varanasi. So Subudhirai went and approached the Lord. And so the Lord said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, exact shloka I forgot to note down. Yeah, I think I did. Eka nama bhase tomar papa dosha yabe, ar nama laite Krishna charane paibe. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu basically asked him to go to Vrindavan and always chant the holy name of the Lord, and he gave the reason also. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and when your chanting is almost pure, namabhas, all your sinful reactions will go away. After you chant perfectly, you will get shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. So he did that. So that is the real atonement. So now, in another instance in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Haridas Thakur visits the house of Raghunath Das Goswami. Now, Raghunath Das Goswami's father, at that time, he was conducting some session where there were discussion about the effects of the holy name, chanting of the holy name. So the question was, the question that was being discussed in that assembly was, can chanting give liberation? Chanting of the Lord's holy name give liberation. So one set of people were arguing, yes, it can give liberation. The other set of people were arguing, no, it cannot give liberation. At that time, who entered the assembly? Haridas Thakur entered the assembly, and they all asked him, can chanting give liberation? Haridas Thakur said, what to speak of chanting the holy name? Even a slight glimpse of the chanting of the holy name, liberation is actually an insignificant result derived from chanting of the holy name. Even a small glimpse, slight glimpse of chanting the holy name will give liberation to that person. So now this person called Gopal Chakravarti became upset. He said, chanting itself cannot give liberation, and you are saying just even a slight glimpse of chanting can give liberation. If you are incorrect, you will be hit with leprosy. If I am incorrect, I will be hit with leprosy. Your nose will fall away. And then Raghunath Das Goswami's father becomes very upset at him. He just sends him away from that place. And in 2 days or 3 days, I don't remember, he is attacked with leprosy and his nose starts to melt away. And then he realizes that Haridas Thakur was a great personality. Whatever he spoke was truth. And then he goes to this place called Aparada Bhanjana in Navadvip, and he Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks him to chant the holy name always to overcome his offenses, and he does that. So basically, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, this just the glimpse of the holy name can give liberation. As this example Prabhupada quotes from Narsimha Purana. Anyone remembers Muhammadan getting liberation? Huh? Haram. So this Muhammadan was once, don't ask me how, in Puranas Muhammadan were there. Muhammadan name was given, the name in Puranas is Yavana. For making us understand, it's given. Or maybe in the other universe or other times, such kind of people existed, possible. So he was in the forest and this boar attacked him from behind. And for them, this boar is untouchable, the pig. So what is the word they say for condemned? Haram. And the way he said was haram, like that, before he was about to die. And so Lord Ramachandra, he thought he was calling him, just like Narayana sent his representatives. Lord Rama considered that as calling him. So he was liberated. So that is the power of the chanting of the holy names. Even in Namashtakam, it is said, Yad Brahma Sakshat Kritinishthayapi Vinashamayati Vinana Bhogaihi Apaiti Nama Spuranena Tatte Prarabdha Karmeti Virauti Vedaha. Rupa Goswami says, even a person who is Brahma Sakshat Kritinishthayapi, who is completely liberated in impersonal Brahman, he cannot overcome complete sinful reactions. Who is practicing that impersonal effulgence, impersonal path. Because they don't commit grossly sinful activities, but still they are affected by prarabdha karma. But apaiti namaspuranena means slight glimpse of the holy name. Prarabdha karmeti virauti vedaha. Every sinful activity, including your prarabdha karma, they are completely washed away. That is the power of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So the real atonement Here Prabhupada mentions that, of course, people do atonements. Parashuram was asked to go to holy places. A lot of people do a lot of atonements. But all of this is, Parikshit Maharaj says, it's a kind of, yes, it's like a Hasti Snan. So, elephant taking bath, but again putting dust on his body. But the real atonement is when the sinful desires are taken out. And that can be done only by Krishna consciousness, the process of chanting the holy name, by the process of devotional service. The real desires are uprooted. So the Krishna consciousness is so powerful, especially Bhagavatam in one place says the power of Krishna Balaram. The power of Krishna Balaram, I'll read that. What is the power of Krishna Balaram? 6.2.16 Gurunam cha laghunam cha guruni cha laghuni cha prayaschittani papanam gnatvoktani maharshibhihi. Authorities who are learned scholars and sages have carefully ascertained that one should atone for the heaviest sins by undergoing a heavier process of atonement, and one should atone for lighter sins by undergoing lighter atonement. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, however, vanquishes all the effects of sinful activities, regardless of whether heavy or light. Now, in the purport, Prabhupada mentions, he quotes this story of Samba and how Balaram goes to rescue him and punishes these people of Kauravas, right? Trying to drag Hastinapura. There, Prabhupada mentions the purport is that one should take shelter of Krishna Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose protective power is so great that it cannot be equaled in the material world. However powerful the reactions of one's sins, they'll immediately be vanquished if one chants the name of Hari, Krishna, Balarama or Narayana. Krishna Balaram ki jai. So any other questions? Huh? Print that. Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah. See, liberation was granted means he was eligible to even go up to Godhead. But if he still desires to remain in the material world, he will not be forced. So Gandhi also would have become eligible, but because he didn't understand who is the Lord, he wanted to remain in the world, he got the benefit of going to heavenly planets. So he continued to remain in the world. So granting liberation is not forcibly carrying you. He will be given an option, but you still have to desire going there or becoming liberated. If you want to be in the material world, you will be sent to the material world. Yeah, that bhava has to be there. Yes, first he raised his hand, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it's a good observation. So Bhagavatam sets the standard for us. So probably this is even bigger sin than Brahmahatya. From this verse we can understand. If you kill an emperor who is the Ragno Murdhabhishiktasya, who is as good as representative of the Lord for you effectively, then it's greater sin than Brahmahatya, as Bhagavatam is establishing here. Hmm. what Prabhupada says in that context, I don't know. Whether cursing is as good as killing him, probably, but maybe there are subtle differences. Yeah. No, no, no. He was relieved because he strictly worshipped Vishnu. He took shelter of Lakshmi Devi in that lotus. That's the reason why he was over. He he was saved from his sinful reactions. Yeah, yeah. Malti Mataji. Yeah, 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 yeah. Correct. But still, that word had Ram. It still had word Ram. Yes. Hare Krishna. But Prabhupada said he chanted Ram. Okay. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल.